Okay, so once I have the cover all ready, and I have the inside paper glued in, I have the eyelets set, if that's what I want to use. I've marked the top with a little X, and I've also marked the top of each signature with a little X, and I've also marked the back cover with a little X, okay? And so I'm going to go ahead and save this just in case I need more signatures or something else happens. And now I want to decide what thread I want to use for my cover, or what colors if I want to use more than one. Okay, so I might want to use black. That would be very striking and kind of dramatic. I'm not going to use black though, because black is harder to see, and because I'm making a video and trying to show you how to make the stitches, that would be a little bit counterintuitive to do that. So the black is out for that reason. And I have kind of an aqua color that would go well. I have kind of a green color that reminds me of this, the kind of greenish color around the yellow rings. And then I also have some yellow that matches the little yellow eyelets. So I have these three colors, and I could use one of them, I could use two of them, I could even use all three of them. And whatever colors I do happen to use will kind of change the way the book feels. Okay, so that's those two. This is a little bit brighter, a little bit more contrast. It's really up to you. So then you want to decide how much of the thread that you need, because you really don't need as much for this type of Coptic binding, because you're just starting up here and working your way across, okay? And the thread will go back and forth between the two sewing stations, but they won't along the spine. They won't go all the way along the spine. They will go across. So you want to give yourself plenty. Okay, so these are the two colors that I'm going to use. Now what I want to do is take one of the wax blocks, and you can use the paraffin. Just go like this. When you wax your thread, it makes it stronger, and it also makes it less easily knotted up and tangled. Stiffens it a little bit, and ironically, it both keeps it from tangling and knotting up when you don't want it to, but it also holds the knots that you do make more firmly. Okay, so that's that one. And the paraffin is more brittle, and so you can see all these little flakes. That's the paraffin. The beeswax, you can see this block has been used quite a bit for running thread through it. You can also warm this back up and reshape it so that it's not, doesn't have quite such deep gouges. The beeswax is a little bit more elastic, I guess you'd say, and so it doesn't flake quite as much when you are running your thread through it. You want to go all the way to the ends and go over it a couple times. Okay, so now you've got two threads that are a little bit like kind of stiffer than they were without the wax. And the beeswax actually makes it a little bit stiffer yet. So now we want to get our needles. and I'm going to use a couple of these. This is called a 2-needle Coptic stitch. Theoretically, you can actually use as many needles as you have holes punched, but you don't have to use those needles all at once. So as long as you have 2 needles, you can do a 2-needle Coptic stitching. So what you want to do is turn this up so that the top is pointing up. That just kind of keeps you oriented the right way. Open the cover and set it aside, right side up, top side up. Pick your first signature, open it to the center. Okay. Oh, by the way, waxing your thread also makes it much easier to thread the needle. Then thread your 2 needles on both ends of one color. Okay, now because there are 4 holes pierced here, I have 2 choices. I can either insert my needle through a pair that is at the top, like so, and pull it through, and that would make these 2 lines this color of aqua. Okay. If I want to stagger it and go like this, that will produce a different effect. Let me make sure that you want to make the threads even, fairly even. Okay, and then I'm going to unthread these needles, thread these. The paraffin doesn't work quite as well on the ends. It doesn't kind of stick the separate little threads together quite as well. And you want them to be able to get, kind of flattened out and really hold their shape. And then I just pinch all of the threads together and make them really narrow, and then kind of lay the needle on top. Because you want all of those separate little threads to be threaded through the needle. You don't want some of them to get kind of balled up and left behind. Okay. I'm going to insert needle through that. And then once again, lay these out so that they're fairly even. Okay, so in this case I have alternating colors, blue, yellow, and that's how you accomplish it, is by staggering the holes that you have inserted the thread through. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Okay, now I'm only going to work on one of these pairs at a time. So I'm going to unthread that pair. I already have the yellow threaded with that needle. I'm going to rethread the aqua. So this is the side I'm going to work on. So what I'm actually going to do with these is just kind of wind them up to keep them up and out of the way.